Okay, so now that we have created smoke and fire using the Maya library, we'll now be creating the only fire from scratch so that you can get an idea how to do it. Okay, to start off, we're going to pick dynamics from the menu box. We're going to go to fluids effects and then create 3D container with emitter. You get a small box. This is actually called the container, a 3D container for fluids. I'm going to switch off the grid, zoom in a little bit. Okay, if I play this, you see small particles running around this small emitter. Let me increase the timeline to say 200 frames. Okay, at the same time, let me just select this emitter and drag it down close to the grid because I want the fire to go up. I want it to rise. Okay. When I play this, you will see something floating up. If you render this, you'll see that it's a wisp of smoke, a white smoke. And I don't want smoke, I want fire. So we'll have to manipulate some of the values. Okay. Let's start by changing the value of the emitter first. Let's change in the fluids attribute. Let's change this to something like, that's fine, I think. Okay, let's change this to say 2, double this, and make it into 4 times. Rewind and play again. You'll see that there'll be more heat voxels and density this time. Okay. And at the same time, we'll also change the fluid emission turbulence. We'll change the normal turbulence, say 1, and rewind and play again. I think I'll change it to 1.15. That should be fine. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. Good. Let's see this. Okay. The turbulence speed is fine. Okay. Let's go in this fluid shapes. First off, let's change the temperature to say dynamic grid and the fuel to dynamic grid as well. I'm going to change the densities buoyancy to 9. I'm going to pump it up. Rewind, play, and render. Zoom in, render. You see now it's gotten thicker and it's getting a little bit hot. We need it way more hot than that. So we change the buoyancy. Now we're going to change dissipation to say 0.2. Rewind, play, render. Yeah, it is getting a little hotter. Okay, now we're gonna go down. This was in the under the content details. So when you click that, you get all these attributes. So velocity is fine. Probably we'll just increase this wall to 10. Okay, then turbulence. This turbulence is for these particles that are flowing. The emitter and the fluid. Okay, let's change the turbulence trend to, I'm sorry, this fluid shape. If you change this turbulence, it's going to affect this whole container. This emitter, if you change this turbulence, only these particles are going to get affected. So if you change the turbulence to strength, say something like 0.01, I don't want to change it too much because I've already changed it in the emitter itself. That's fine. Then let's see the temperature. I'll change this to 1.9 and rewind, play. Then we render this again and see. Yeah, it is getting a little hot. Oops. It is getting hotter. Okay. Speed, temperature, temperature scale. We change that. We need to change this buoyancy again. I'll make it more hotter, say 9. And then render. Oh, I need to rewind it and play it. Okay. It's getting hot in the base. Okay. Then I'll go down to fuel. I change the fuel scale to say 1.9 again. I'm going to change the reaction speed to 0.98. I'm just putting random numbers. Yep, it's giving me a nice gradient kind of a thing. Okay. Now I'm going to go down, and now I need to change the color of this because I'm not completely satisfied. So I'm going to go in the shading options. If you click on shading, you get a nice big attributes of these. The transparency, I'm going to change the transparency to say something whitish gray. I don't need the glow. Drop off shape, I'm going to change it to sphere. And edge drop off, say something like 0.4. I'm going to rewind this, play. You see now less particles flow up. That's fine. This is what you get, something like, because now you're playing with the colors. That's fine. In color, all you need to do is change this to black, and then you go to incandescent. This is the main area which is going to add some color to your fire, and this is where you need, this is the main area, and this is the only area that you need to play around with if you want to change the color. Okay, for that I'm just going to delete this, getting this closer. I'll change this color to say, first I'll get this up. I'm going to change this to, and since I want it really hot, since fire is really hot, I'm going to bump these values to say 15, 6, and probably 2.6 or 2.7. You see this goes really bright. This actually, you can see it's white, and I'm going to change this to black. Temperature is fine. And Input bias, I'll change it to something like 380 is fine. I rewind it and play and render this, you see something coming up. Okay, now I need to change the opacity. I'm going to change this to spline, and just going to play around with this a little bit. Get something like this. And increase the bias to something like that. And if I rewind and play, render one single frame. Okay, render the single frame. Okay, nothing is showing. I will just change the opacity level to something like that. And render this. And so you get a really hot fire. Just rewind this and play. You render any frame anywhere. So if you go a little ahead and render this frame, it will get really hot and nice fiery looking. So this is how you make fire. I'm going to